Welcome to The Exchange, the program that introduces you to lots of interesting people. Throughout the season, we'll be exchanging many ideas on wide-ranging topics that affect all of us every day. I'm Rob Buckingham, and my co-host on The Exchange is my wife, Christie.
Great to be here. Looking forward to the show.
It's going to be really good. On today's show, we're going to be discussing how reality TV is shaping our culture. To discuss this topic, we're delighted to be joined by reality TV blogger Emma Ashton. Hi, Emma, and thanks for your time today.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
It's great.
We're also thrilled to be joined by Robert Sims, who's a social commentator and has written on this topic. Welcome, Robert.
Thanks, Christy. It's great to be here.
It's lovely to have you. Before we start a discussion, let's take a look at this.
How real is reality TV? I can't remember the last time I had to vote someone out of my house, or the last time I got sent home because my scones weren't up to scratch, or even when I got a record deal because I was good at karaoke. What is so fascinating about reality TV? And is it an accurate portrayal of real life?
OK, that's what we're looking at today on The Exchange. Emma, let's start with you. Why do you think reality TV is so huge?
Well, I think people love it because it's entertaining. They connect with the characters on screen because they see a bit of themselves up there, particularly in cases like, MasterChef, The Voice, My Kitchen Rules. I mean, recently in The Voice we saw a person on TV called Steve Clisby, 67-year-old man, and, people were connecting saying, well, he's changing his life at 67 years of age.
Yeah, it's
that can be
inspiring.
me. Maybe my life isn't as boring or as trapped as I thought it was.
Yep.
So that's one of the reasons, and people love talking about it. It's like the water cooler conversation of the 21st century.
It really is, isn't it? Yeah, what did you see last night and all of that? What are your thoughts on that, Robert?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think also we have an interest in the everyday. There's something perhaps that's peculiarly Australian about that.
Are you saying we're sticky beaks?
Yeah, maybe. Well, certainly these days, people tend to share everything about their lives. There's no division between the public and the private. You look at things like Facebook and so on. You share things with 1,000 of your closest friends, and I think reality TV is kind of part of that.
Absolutely. Emma, what do you think is in the head of a person who wants to become a contestant for reality TV?
Well, I think there's quite a few things. I think first there's the people that want to achieve fame or a step on a media career, or there's others that just want to change their lives, want to go in a new direction. So, and the others who want to just promote themselves, or the others are just wanting a unique experience. I mean, you're going on a show like The Amazing Race, that's an experience that money can't buy.
That is so true. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And some people obviously just want it to be their big break and maybe see it as a quick way of getting that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it as in place of doing a university degree, but it is definitely shown there's a way of, getting a break in the media. As someone said to me, these days to get on TV, you have to either be a reality TV star, a WAG or a beauty contestant. So, I mean, it definitely helps. And it's a way of getting an instant audience and showing that you're connecting with an audience. So that's why they are popular. Look at Chrissy Swan. There's no way she would have made it on TV without being on Big Brother.
Do you think men see it differently, Rob?
Oh, look, I think traditionally there's tended to often be that emphasis on women having to comply with social stereotypes. But I think in recent years that's starting to be applied to men as well. And so men are also struggling to comply with a lot of those unrealistic stereotypes too. I think reality TV is a big part of encouraging that.
Encourage them to be with the stereotypes or be opposite?
No, I think trying to comply with them.
Right.
This idea that you have to be the best at everything, you have to be perfect, you can't just be a good singer, you have to be the best singer.
Right.
And
if
best
you're not,
singer with a story.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
just the best talent.
That's right. And if you're not, you're voted off the island or evicted off the show, and I don't know whether that's that healthy.
Yeah, we can get to that. I guess there is certainly a downside to some of this. Now, both of you have a political background as well. Robert, your background has been as a political advisor.
Yeah, that's right. I used to work for 2 Green senators.
OK. And yourself, Emma, with the ALP? You have a particular interest there?
Yes. Over about 10-year period, I've worked for a variety of ministers, both at a state and a federal level.
So what do people with a political background, what would be your interest then in reality TV? How does that morph for you, first of all, Emma?
Well, I've always had an interest in reality TV, starting off with Big Brother. I thought that was the ultimate social experiment of how people got on. And Basically, it sort of became more serious when I had children, and I was a bit bored at home working part-time, and I thought, I'm just going to start this thing called a blog. And I started writing about reality TV, and you know, the rise of reality TV just coincided with the start of my blog. You know, and I think one of the things we should say about reality TV is that it became more popular because of the internet and because of the social media, you know, and we can see that that's definitely those two things have joined together.
So they all interact
So you're
with
not
each other.
suggesting a situation of My Minister Rules and actually politics and the TV reality show meld together?
You know,
Well,
someone
we'd have to
actually-
lose the blue
there are
tie.
those moments. There are those moments. Believe me.
You reckon that could catch on?
I actually think something like that could, you know, particularly at a time when a lot of people are very disillusioned with politics. Maybe it could be a way of re-engaging them.
And we just want everyone to know they heard it here first on the
That's
exchange.
right. I hope they take up the idea.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So, what's your fascination with reality TV? You know, how does that morph for you from a political interest as well?
Well, I first became involved with reality TV with Big Brother too. I was doing my Year 12 at the time at school, and I became quite interested in Big Brother. It was something new for Australia. But I guess from a political standpoint, I think there are some similarities between the way that we engage with politicians and the way that we look at reality TV. These days, I think politics is increasingly focusing on personality issues, the personal lives of the politicians, and all of that is kind of this reality TV culture, the 24/7 nature of the news cycle.
Absolutely.
That's an interesting point. And it's an expectation, isn't it? I mean, why
Yeah.
should people know the backgrounds of
Yeah.
everybody that they're working with? You don't know your doctor's
No.
you know, background or whatever. And
That's right. I kind of think there's things that are relevant to someone's political persona, and there are
Yes.
things that are outside of that.
Absolutely.
And the division is being blurred.
Completely would agree with that. What do you think a producer is actually looking for when they're looking for a contestant? Because you do a little bit about that in your blog.
Well, what they're looking for someone who's going to sort of break through that fourth wall, someone that's going to connect with the viewer. Now, they don't want 12 people that are the same. So they don't want all 12 people that are outrageous and funny. They want a nice balance to make sure they play off each other, particularly in, you know, shows like Big Brother or even MasterChef. So you'll have like, they're looking for certain characters, and they do probably do a bit of a tick the box, like, you know, the mum with a few kids, the
Right.
dad who's looking for a career change, you know, someone from
And
different
so you
ethnic
help
backgrounds.
people to write these scripts to make them stand out.
I help them carve a backstory.
Yeah.
Now, that's not making up a backstory, that's carving it. I present it as people go to professional resume
Yes.
people to do up their resumes, so to make sure you get into that interview. Now, once they're in front of a producer, well, it's up to them to, you know, present themselves in a good manner. But, you know, talking about the backstory, sitting down and sort of saying, well, what's happened in your life? Someone's got something interesting or unusual. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be negative, like, you know, your parents breaking up when you're young or having had cancer. It could be something really interesting or quirky, like, you know, having trekked, you know, Nepal for 3 weeks and helping some orphans in, you know, Tanzania.
So
you know what I mean?
you actually think that helps?
Oh, definitely.
Because they want to know the whole person.
Well, people want to know, don't they? People love to know about people.
Well, that's the whole point of reality
Yeah.
TV. And, you know, again, I'm talking about The Voice. Everyone had a backstory. And, of course, the better the backstory, the more mainstream media attention you get. Also, with the media, the publicists of these shows have to feed the media over 3 months. And it's about the people.
Yeah.
So they've got to drip feed them the stories about the contestants that will draw people in and help them connect with them.
Fabulous. Well, it's great discussion so far. We're going to take a break and be back with more in just a moment on The Exchange. Welcome back to The Exchange. We're having a fascinating discussion with Emma Ashton and Robert Sims on how reality TV is influencing today's culture. Robert, just on that, how do you think reality TV is influencing our culture?
Oh, look, I think it has quite a significant influence. I spoke a little bit earlier about the idea of reality TV encouraging stereotypes. And I think what it does is creates the impression that the lifestyle of the rich and famous is accessible to everyday people, whether it's, getting plastic surgery, having to be the best. And I don't think that's really that healthy. It concerns me about the impact that might have.
Yeah.
I've got to disagree with him on that. I think one of the great things about reality TV, what it has done in the last decade, has increased the diversity of people or characters we've seen on our screens. They've been the first type of genre that we've seen people from different ethnic backgrounds, different shapes, sizes, ages, different sexualities. Now, I know you like politics, Rob.
Yes.
Last year in the US election, a lot of the states came through with the same-sex marriage proposals, and they were voted in. And there's been articles written saying because of reality TV and gay people shown on those shows as, being, I shouldn't say the word normal, but, being fabulous and funny, that's what made people much more tolerant and going, well, hey, they're just like us. Yep, well, let same-sex marriage go.
I can see a disagreement coming on from Robert.
Look, I agree with what you're saying there in terms of increased diversity, but I guess what concerns me is that ultimately people that don't comply with the social stereotypes, whether it be they don't lose enough weight or they're not good enough in terms of being the best singer, they get voted off the island or evicted off the show.
Yes.
And I don't think that's a very nice
They can become a little bit nasty, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I think it reinforces this idea that you have to be the best, and if you're not good enough, there's some kind of social retribution. And I don't think as a society that's a healthy place for us to be in.
Okay.
And after the show's over, what happens to the ones who didn't make it?
Particularly, and what about people that you see on some of these shows like, singing shows and so forth, they do auditions, and you can see that they've really tried, and then they're the object of ridicule. What happens to those people? And I do worry about that.
What does happen to them? Do we know any, we talk about backstories of people coming onto the program. Do we know any stories?
Well, I don't think you necessarily have to win a show to be successful. In
Well,
fact,
that's true.
good point.
Recently we've seen Tim and Maddock on, again, the Voice. I keep on mentioning The Voice, don't I? But who only came 6th or 7th in So You Think You Can Dance. He's now, a famous pop singer.
You've got Shannon Knoll.
So just the experience in itself.
But I guess I'm meaning not necessarily people that get to that level, but those that do the auditions on, say, a show like Australian Idol. There's a lot of people who are doing the auditions, they don't measure up, but then sometimes people are subject of ridicule or whatever. What happens to them?
OK, so that's what we think. Let's go out on the streets and see what the people think.
Reality TV has been a massive hit, but how much of it is actually real?
I'm not sure, but I know that I enjoy watching it, and if it's real, then, that's fine, and if it's not, it still makes good TV.
Probably say like 80%, like the majority of it's scripted and stuff. Depending also what sort of show.
I think most of it is. It's just the producers choose what they want to show, so it's not technically the full real life story of it all.
I don't think a lot of what we see is very real. I think a lot of it is constructed in a strategic way so that people appear a certain way to appeal to certain audiences.
Probably about 1% because they're making it to keep people interested. So if they make it more dramatic, they're going to have to edit it so much that it's not real anymore.
How much of reality TV do you think is actually real?
Probably not much. Nowhere near as much as they'd like you to think.
Not very much.
I don't think a lot of it. I think it's pretty big business now. I think that they go to a lot of effort to actually pick out the people they know are going to make an impact and cause a stir. So I actually think it's really exaggerated and not really real at all.
Why do you think people go on reality TV?
I guess for their 15 minutes of fame. I'm not sure. I mean, at the moment, I love, a few of the shows that are on just now, and it makes celebrities out of something. They may be gone to bigger and better things, and other ones will go back to their everyday lives.
I think for fame and money. There's no other reason to do it. I look at Big Brother, people on there, a lot of them have a bit of a background in something, that's showbiz related, and they're trying to further themselves.
When it comes to The Biggest Loser and all that, I think it is for a positive change in their life. But when it comes to stuff like Big Brother and all that, I think it's just people wanting attention, wanting to get on TV, and it's, at the end of the day, most of it's just for an experience.
A lot of people these days have a desire to be famous, to be noticed more and more today. You see people getting famous, getting on shows for basically doing nothing.
I just think it's the celebrity, because celebrity is just so achievable nowadays. I think the term celebrity even is just diminishing, because it's just so easy to become accessible, to become notable through the media.
Well, fame's something in today's society that everybody values possibly more than intelligence. So if you can be famous through a show like, I don't know, Big Brother, everyone will know you, people will want to pay to meet you. It's all about money and fame. It's not about, you know, being intelligent or actually achieving something to help the world, but it's pretty sad.
So, some very interesting opinions there. Joining us now is the Exchange's Street Talk reporter, Sandra Cavallo. Welcome, Sandra.
Hi, Rob. Hi, Christie.
Hi, great to have you in here. How is it like out there?
Yeah, pretty honest, actually. It's quite interesting how majority of the people not think that reality TV is not real. Any surprises? I don't think
so.
Well,
I actually got to tell you, I was surprised by some of that. I thought that more people would have been hoodwinked that it was realer than it is.
Well, it'd be actually interesting because there's a lot of statistics on, you know, maybe 1% of it was real, maybe 50%. So there's an element of it, it's not real, it is scripted, it is produced, but listening to the show, there are real stories coming through as well. So,
Well, it depends on what genre of or subgenre of reality TV it is. You know, some of the reality TV shows aren't real. They're like soapies, like the Being Lara Bingals or The Shire, or Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got the talent shows like MasterChef, and that. Yes, they're highly edited, but they're putting storylines through it that are real.
The thing that really jumped out from me there was the people who were commenting on this idea that you've got ordinary people that want to be famous and that's what's motivating them. And I think as a society we kind of have to accept that not everybody can be famous or have the lifestyle of the rich and famous, and that's okay as well. I thought it was interesting that came across.
Yeah, the one girl was actually quite harsh. She actually said that it's not about intelligence, that they don't actually have to do anything. Well, I don't think that's actually the case.
No,
I wouldn't want to be on MasterChef and the amount of work that they need to do.
The pressure.
And the pressure.
I wish I could cook like a MasterChef.
Exactly.
I'm a terrible chef.
They have to have some talent. They'd have to have talent to be on there.
Yeah, that's true.
But does it usurp a lot of the usual ways of achieving, which is plotting and hard work? Or do you see it as an adjunct? Do you see it goes hand in hand?
Well, I think it can leapfrog you over a number of steps, but once you've achieved that profile, that's when the hard work kicks in. And that's Guy Sebastian's famous for saying that. He said he got his break, got notice, and he's worked his patootie off.
But you do have, though, the other end of the spectrum where you have a show like Big Brother where the contestants on that are kind of famous just for being themselves, sitting in a house talking all day. I mean, is that necessarily celebrating merit or achievement? I wouldn't want to do the show, but yeah.
And there have been a few that have made it, haven't they, out of Big Brother?
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Especially from the early seasons. I mean, you've got Blair McDonough, who's
Yeah,
quite a famous actor now. Chrissy
right.
Swan. And and quite a lot are on radio as well. It's Fitzy, isn't it? That's
in Sydney.
He started off here in South Australia, my home state of SA.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And have we had any really bad stories? Like, I know Susan Doyle, we had problems with her in the early days, but has there been any really nasty things that have happened to people that just they thought that was their big break, and if they didn't make it, they didn't want to live, kind of thing?
I think some people have found that once the show stopped, that was it. I mean, particularly for winners that maybe have not been as, record company friendly. Like, Natalie Gauchi, who won one of the later seasons of
Casey
Idol.
Donovan. She was another one who was an amazing singer, but it just didn't
go anywhere.
Drifted away.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sandra, thank you for coming in and reporting what's happening out there on the streets. We'll see you next time right here on The Exchange. Don't go away. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Welcome back to The Exchange with our guests, reality TV blogger Emma Ashton and social commentator Robert Sims. We've been talking about the effects reality TV is having on our culture today. And Robert, it seems very much that reality TV is meshing with social media. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, I think that's true, and I actually think that's part of this broader phenomenon, the breakdown between the public and private self. So on the one hand, you've got reality TV, but on the other, you have social media and this idea that people share information about their personal lives, but also that we as citizens are interested in information about ordinary people and what they're doing. Phenomenon of citizen journalism, blogs, all that kind of thing is linked, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Emma?
I think that, social media and reality TV work really well together, and I think in the future what we're going to see is we're going to see people voting on what challenges contestants should do while the show's going on. We're going to press buttons, or we're going to be sending things in.
Wow.
So we might, us, the viewer at home, might change the plot line as the show goes on.
Wow, so we've sort of picked the menu of what's happening.
MasterChef cooked this
and
tonight.
producers listen to that, they're interested in that.
Oh, absolutely. They've got their eye on what people are saying about the shows, what people like and don't like, and they make those changes. They tweak the shows so, people will continue watching.
So reality TV kind of started off very slowly. Was Big Brother the first reality TV program? Is that an accurate statement? Or
Well,
early days, wasn't it?
Yes, I mean, I always sort of say Sylvania Waters, but I think the second wave was the Big Brothers, the Survivors, the Australian and American Idols.
But it's really kind of broadened out from there.
It's almost every second show is a reality TV show.
Cheap for the networks to produce. I think that's part of it too.
That's a misnomer, actually.
Really?
No, the reality shows, the big ones, are very expensive to produce because they have to buy the formats, and the networks go up bid against each other, so it brings up the price. They've got to bring in the high-profile judges.
Is it a way of them just trying to get up their Australian content? Because I often look at this stuff and think, they're just trying to say they've got some Australian drama, when really it's just a bunch of people sitting in a house on a couch, versus producing
and
a
maybe
big
just
production.
everybody loves everything Australian. That's
Yeah,
nothing to do with the storyline.
They do prefer Australian reality TV shows. Australian viewers do.
So if they prefer them, then why do we not actually, most of these shows are US or formats from other places, so we don't have our own format of anything.
But we have Australian contestants in them.
We do.
Correct.
We have to buy those formats. Before we finish up, a reality TV program that you would like to see in the future, Emma, what would it be?
I love talent-based programs. I'd like to see one around comedians or artists.
That'd be good.
Great.
What about yourself, Robert?
I'd like to see something that encourages people to put themselves in the lives of someone else. So maybe something that forces people to confront what it would be like to be homeless and how they'd deal with those challenges. I think that would be a really good reality TV show.
That'd be really good. Well, there you go. Get the format together, trademark it, and make a huge amount of money.
Yes.
Robert Sims and Emma Ashton, thank you so much for your time being on the Exchange today. Please go to our website for fact sheets and for more information about this show, The Exchange. We look forward to seeing you next time.